Hello friends, in new video of Art of Clearing Prelims series, today we will focus on detailed analysis of polity, often which is called as the gateway to mains. So we will discuss about, first of all, the challenges that you are facing. Then we will discuss about what are the sources which are available and from which sources, how many questions are coming. Then the trend analysis of past 6 7 years polity questions from how the pattern is changing, how they are asking a lot of factual questions as well, how to deal with it, then how you can see the PYQ patterns and how you can streamline your preparation for the upcoming attempts. Then I will also forecast a few important topics for the upcoming prelims. So that this will be a holistic video. This will give you a clear vision for this subject, and I can assure you that after watching this video you will be able to handle polity with greater precision. So let's start the video. First of all, we will discuss why polity is important. See, first of all, the weightage is very high. When weightage is very high, then we have to focus on polity. Secondly, polity questions come from, a lot of questions come from constitution, and a large part of constitution is fixed. It is not changing in a manner. If we compare it with subjects like environment science, things are changing at a rapid pace, so polity is quite stable compared to them. Also, if you read the polity again and again, you are better able to comprehend and retain it compared to other subjects, so it becomes quite scoring. That is why it is called as gateway to mains. Also in mains, it helps a lot in paper like ethics. In GS2, obviously it will help. In essays, it help. In interviews, it will help. So it helps in a lot of paper. Now let's talk about the syllabus of polity. So in the first part, if you see the M. Lakshmikant, in first part, they are discussing about Indian Constitution, how it was founded, how it was formed, what was the procedure, who all were chairing the different bodies, and what inspired the individual provisions that were taken from different sources. All of these has been discussed. Okay, and then amendments, etc. Second part talks about the structure, functioning, and powers of union and state government. And then we read about judiciary and all the three tiers of judiciary. And then we discuss about federalism, local governance, panchayati raj. These three are very important. Also, there is one part which is a bit dynamic, governance issues like transparency, RTI, NGOs, self-help groups, citizen charter. You must have seen questions like questions coming from Official Secret Act. So Official Secret Act is part of governance. Yeah, so a few questions come from governance portion as well. Now, what is the challenge in polity preparation? See, the syllabus is vast. The book itself, Lakshmikant, is very thick, and not everything is coming from Lakshmikant. So there are multiple sources as well, and many things are extremely factual. So that also, no, you read and you are not able to memorize it. Secondly, there is lots of confusion. Say, for example, the supremacy of fundamental rights over DPSP. So right from the cases, if you will see Golaknath, Keshanand Bharti, Minerva Meal, the stance of Honorable Supreme Court is changing. So it makes things complex. Then there are questions which ask that clearly mentioned in Constitution or not. Then this clearly mentioned word is a cliche. So all these things adds to the complexity in preparation. Also, there are different ways. Now, there are a few questions which are conceptual. There are few questions which are factual. And for both types of questions, there is a different approach. Then you will have to remember sometimes even articles, amendments, cases. So it requires a lot of cramming on your part. Then confusion, as I discussed about fundamental rights and DPSP. So fundamental DPSP is an extremely confusing topic, and lots of questions can be made. Fundamental duties, it's a confusing topic. Also, a few questions which are inclined towards the contemporary affairs, they add to the confusion because a lots of development is happening and things are changing in those kinds of questions. So they also add to your confusion. Even 2 to 4 year old theme has been asked by UPSC, and that is why solving test series is important, because any compilations which you read, which are so-called current affairs compilations, are not covering the entire evolution. They are just focusing on the happenings which has happened in last 1 or 1.5 years. But UPSC has a habit to ask things which are 3 4 years old as well in polity. Okay, so these are the challenges. Now see conceptual versus factual questions. So see, in 2018, the conceptual questions which are represented with green, factuals are represented with the red. Conceptual and factual questions were almost similar in 2018. In 19, the conceptual increased. 20, 21, 22, there was a vast difference. 23, it was equal. 24, again, the conceptual questions were high. But factual was also high because the number of questions was altogether very high in 2024. Okay, so you from this you can understand that you cannot ignore factual, you cannot ignore conceptual. You will have to handle both. How to solve these issues? See, follow the law of prioritization. What is coming more again and again? What is more important? So that has to be prioritized before. That has to be given more priority. That has to be given more time. That has to be given more attention. Okay, you cannot give entire attention, entire time to every portion. That's impossible. So focus on high weightage topics. Also, NCERT is key to many direct questions. I will tell you which all NCERT books are very, very important, but around 20 to 25% questions are coming directly from NCERTs. Then Lakshmikant has to be used, no doubt, you have to read it. But when you are reading about certain things, you are feeling confused, just Google it. You will see a lot of articles of PRS or Press Information Bureau as well. PRS will definitely pop up. So you can read it, the confusing topics. Go to a certain depth because UPSC is asking in-depth question in topics like fundamental rights, directive principle of state policy, parliament chapter, federalism. They are going a bit deeper in it. Okay. Regular PYQ analysis. You need to take a printout of PYQ if you have a book, that's fine, and regularly see it, regularly analyze it, regularly identify patterns. When you will see regularly questions, you will get a clue. I can assure you, PYQs are our best friends. Then there are certain portions, I will tell you the portions, where you need to also refer bare acts. And for that, you can make even notes or tables, you can maintain for it. Certain bare acts are important because they are asking from certain portions the literal meaning from the constitution. And as Lakshmikant is a commentary, you cannot understand the literal meaning from the Lakshmikant. You can also utilize mind maps and flowcharts, especially now if you want to like read the chapter fundamental right versus DPSP. The best possible manner is to use flowchart because things are happening in flow, and it will help you to handle any question. So there are certain ways as well. If you see the polity questions, so 18, 20, 22, 23, even 24 questions have been asked. So it's not going below 16. Once it was in 2018, it was around 13, 14 questions. But on an average, 16, 17 questions will come. That's the importance of polity. Now, static versus current affair based polity questions. Even if, the beauty of polity is even if the current affair questions are asked, most of the current happenings will again mix with static. So there is no other way, but you will have to focus on static. Here you can see the dominance of static over current affairs based question. In 2018, 12 questions were asked from static portion and only 3 from current affairs. Okay. In times, around 6 7 questions have been inspired from current affairs like 2024, but then also static questions were 16 17. So now if you are allotting more time to handle current affairs, beware, because around 75 to 80% questions will come from the static portions. So allot your time mindfully. That's why I'm making these videos. Now let's see topic-wise distribution of Polity PYQs from 2018 to 2024. So the highest number of questions have come from fundamental rights. It's very, very important. And you will have to go in depth. You will have to read BRX. You will have to read cases. Otherwise, you will not be able to understand it and solve the difficult questions asked by UPSC. After that, Parliament has been a very, very dominant portion. The Parliament chapter in Lakshmikant itself is very big, and Parliament is a very in-depth topic. Then important acts. There are important acts which has been enacted, and UPSC is asking a lot of questions from it. After that, constitutional bodies. We have different constitutional bodies, and they are very, very important. And after that, executives say UPSC is asked questions, then judiciary, then local government. But if you see the parliament, the constitutional body, fundamental rights, and important acts together make 70% of the total question that has been asked by UPSC. Now let's have certain observations. I have analyzed UPSC prelims polity trend, and I will tell you with example things. So most questions, as I told you, are from standard sources. Standard sources are Lakshmikant, NCERT, and previous year PYQs. Like 2024 question, which of the following are fundamental duties under the Indian Constitution? This is a direct question from Lakshmikant. Okay. Some questions are asking you the philosophical part, the political philosophy, like constitutionalism, judicial review. Here you need to deeply understand the concept and have a conceptual clarity. There was a question, judicial review in India is based on which constitutional provision? Okay. So you need to understand conceptually as well. You cannot just cram it. Then there are certain questions. We have seen that in recent times, 6-7 questions have come from current affairs, inspired topics. So you need to have a look on the major things which has happened. Some new law, some constitutional amendment, some constitutional bodies in news a lot. So you need to focus on them. Like governor was in news a lot during 2022. So in prelims, a question came. Not only prelims, mains maybe the question may come. Like in 2018, there was a lot of debate of LG versus CM, Chief Minister. So a direct question came in mains as well. So that is the importance. Okay. Also, sometimes now the colonial laws are revised or are changed. So those acts also become important, like Prisons Act 1894 or Official Secret Acts. The questions have been asked by UPSC on it. There are certain times that UPSC has made very tricky options, like in 2023. There was a question, which of the following are correct regarding money bills? The options were extremely close-ended. Sometimes the questions are also from applied understanding from the current affairs, like which of the following institutions are statutory body based on governance debate, which was going on in 2022. Static knowledge should be supplemented with applied current affairs. That's the best portion. That's the best way to handle the polity subject. Like basic structure doctrine is derived from which case? Basic structure was in news a lot. So that's the way you need to handle the polity portion. Now, what are the key takeaways for aspirant? See, you need to prioritize the standard books like NCERT, Lakshmikant for foundational clarity. You will have to follow legislative and governance news, the important news, the broad news to link current affairs with the static polity part. Avoid over-reliance on elimination technique. It will bite you a lot in polity. The questions are becoming harder. Also understand old laws and constitutional provisions that are in public debate or in public scrutiny. Conceptual understanding is very important. Otherwise, you will forget the facts as well. Now let's see most repeated themes in prelims from 2013 to 2024. Fundamental rights and duties have been asked a lot. PYQ May 2016, 18, 21, you will see. Constitutional amendments have been asked a lot of times. parliament and executive. Judiciary में Supreme Court judgments is one of the important topic that you need to understand. The important ones, the important judgments, or the recent ones. Both are important. Local governance and federalism pe they have asked questions, and on governance issues as well, like RTI, Lokpal, NGO regulation. They have asked question in 2014, 19, and 23. Okay. Now sources of polity question from 2018 to 2024. Around 40% questions had directly come from Lakshmikant. So people, if they say that everything comes from Lakshmikant, is wrong. Okay. 25 questions percent of questions have come from NCERT. So if you are reading NCERT plus Lakshmikant, you can handle 65% of the questions directly. Okay. Then 10% of questions have come directly or recycled ones from the PYQ itself. So around 75% questions can be handled through PYQs, NCERT, Lakshmikant. 15% questions have come from newspaper articles like Hindu, Indian Express, etc., etc. And 10% questions have come from PIB, PRS, etc., government websites. Okay. Now, what are the best books for polity preparation? So NCERT, three NCERTs are very, very important. One, Indian Constitution at Work. I used to read it many times. It is a very, very good book, very, very good read. Polity books, especially, are made fantastically by NCERT. Okay. Second is Democratic Politics. In 2018, a lot of questions came. Political theory, again and again questions come from that. But Indian Constitution at Work is a fabulous book. You must read it. Then M. Lakshmikant, it is good. It cannot be replaced. Bare Acts, essential for governance-based topics as well. I will tell you, Bare Acts are important for fundamental rights. Bare Acts are important for money bill provisions. Bare Acts are important for governor related positions, because governor is always in news, and Bare Acts are important for judiciary related articles as well as judicial review, etc. Okay, so these are very, very important. You need to read Bare Acts of it. Fundamental rights, so you will have to read. That's very, very important. Then ARCCB, a few questions have been asked, ministry official website, but those questions are low. I've told you it's around 10%. So you can also avoid if it is being covered in magazines or modules, that's fine. You can cover it from it. Okay. Like governance topics like judicial custody, parole, Lokpal have been asked. So how to use Bare Acts? Focus on frequently asked article. I have told you, Article 32, Article 21, Article 110, Article 368. These are very, very important. Then read them in simple language. Make short notes also if possible. Understand key legal terminology. If you're not able to understand, you can use AI chatbots or Google. Link with Supreme Court judgments and PYQs. It will be comprehensive. So we have also made a comprehensive polity module, because you cannot revise the whole bulky Lakshmikant and NCERT, then so many things. And as a lot of questions are coming from factual portions as well, it's very, very important to revise. So I have crafted a very crisp, it's not bulky, very crisp material to revise things quickly. So if you will read it 6-7 times, your marks will definitely increase. It has been crafted from PYQs, Bare Acts, and all standard sources. It covers all governance topics also. There are tables, there are mind maps for easy learning, and it saves time by prioritizing high weightage topics. You can now I will post the link as well of the sample notes as well as the link to enroll. If you find it useful, you can enroll. If you have made your own notes, that's very good. Okay, then you don't need it. Repetition, we will see of polity PYQs from 2015 to 2024. Many questions are repeated with slight modification. Like 2015 fundamental rights, very slight modification. Question was again asked in 2018, then again in 2021. In 2017, DPSP was asked, rephrased in 2022 and 23. 2019 Parliament powers was asked, revised in 21 and 23 again. 2020 Supreme Court judgment-based questions were asked. Again, it was revisited in 2023. What are the expected questions for UPSC Prelims 2025? I am betting on, again, fundamental right, Article 14 to 22, and right to privacy. Polity related to minorities and institutions, parliamentary processes, UCC, state elections, amendment process and important amendments, role of governor, recent controversies, anti-defection law, 10th schedule. There are lots of operations, so-called operations, which are in news. Tribunals and judicial overreach. So these are questions which I'm betting on. Now, what are the last words or last tips for effective polity preparation? Start with not Lakshmikant, start with NCRTs. Now, read Lakshmikant and PYQs. These three will help you cover 75%. Solve mock tests to understand question framing, to utilize your knowledge, to identify where you are lacking, in which portions you need to give more attention and time, and it will also help you to retain things. It will also help you to have conceptual clarity. Those thin, those confusing areas will get covered. Use visual tools as well, flowcharts, mind maps. You can revise bare act selectively, as I have pointed out. Prioritize high weightage topics.